Hello there and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel, and this is going to be the preview for Liverpool versus Crystal Palace, or Crystal Palace versus Liverpool, as we are going to Crystal Palace's ground on Monday night. It'll be an 8 o'clock kickoff, I believe it is, and we're looking good. And what I mean by that is we're looking like we should be able to have a fairly fully fit squad, apart from Lovren, who still has this stomach issue going on that didn't really get revealed until last week, so cheers for that one, Lovren. But anyway, the only other major thing that has happened to Liverpool in this last week is that Ragnar Klavan, the man, the master of the turning round the ball. He's absolutely magnificent at that. Honestly though, he has moved to Cagliari, I think it is, in Serie A, or Calcio A, whatever that league is called anymore. He has moved on for a deal that is maybe about £2 million, something like that, and while I thought that he would actually be maybe someone that we could turn to if injuries and such like that aren't going our way, a lot of people are pointing to the fact that we could actually use some of the younger guys, like, for instance, Nat Phillips, who featured very well in pre-season, had great games alongside Virgil van Dijk, and if obviously something goes wrong with Matip, Gomez, and Lovren, maybe even Van Dijk. Fingers crossed nothing ever happens there though, because that man he's our man mountain. We need that man at the back. Klavan has moved on. Wish him all the very best. I always believed that he gave his best for Liverpool. It's just that his best, he wasn't the most skillful or talented defender of all time, but he kind of in a similar mould to Skirtle, where he'd probably put his face in front of someone's boot if it meant that a goal wouldn't be scored. So you've got to appreciate that, and I do believe that he did his best for Liverpool. What it does mean, though, is that I think, from what I remember reading from Jurgen Klopp, is that Fabinho and Matip have trained this week. So we may be able to see the debut of Fabinho in the Premier League. Shaqiri, is he going to make an appearance? I'd love to see him make an appearance. A lot of people are questioning whether Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to start, or is Nathaniel Klein going to start at right back, because Trent struggled a little bit against Wilfried Zaha last year, and I'm thinking some people are still thinking that because Klein is older, and I'm going to make this point as well, some people think that because Klein is older, that because he's got more experience, that he should start over Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has had one better season than Klein has had in years. And I'm just saying that right now. I'm going to say this right now. If Trent Alexander-Arnold and Nathaniel Klein were the same age, who would be starting? And you've got to go off the ability that they've got, the performances that they've had in the last couple of seasons whatsoever, and all that sort of business. Who would you be starting? Trent Alexander-Arnold, all day, every day. Now, people say that Klein is better defensively. To a point, maybe, a little bit, but I just think that while Klein can offer you that, he can offer you a little bit better defensively, and I'm talking like a little bit better defensively. What Trent gives you, he gives you much more options going forward into the middle of the park, as well as being a defender. Alright, he might not have that defensive discipline that Klein has, but he's getting better at it. He's younger, and he's got way more. He's got his ceiling to grow. We don't know where it is right now. We don't know what it could be. He has the potential to be one of the best right backs in the world. And he's a young lad. He's 19 years old, I think. 19, 20, 19? I think Klein's, 26, 27? Missed an entire year through a mysterious back injury. And people want him to come in and start over someone who has not only earned his place, but he deserves to keep it because he's playing very well. He performs very well for us. So it's a non-starter for me that Trent starts. I think most people would know what our starting 11 would be if we've got no midweek games and we don't need to do any rotation, which I don't think we do. I don't think we have got any midweek games coming up like next week or anything like that. I think I would be going for, if anyone's going to make way for the debut of Fabinho, it would probably be Wijnaldum, and that would be really unfair, to be honest, because the way he performed last week against West Ham, he played really well. There wasn't anybody in that team that you could look at like saying, I'd take him out, replace him with this person. I really wouldn't. When I look at that team that we put out last week, you're talking Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Gomez, Trent Alexander-Arnold. We had Wijnaldum, Keita, Milner, Salah, Firmino, Mane. for me, there's not really anyone in that starting 11. Who would I take out of that starting 11 to bring Fabinho in? Maybe people might look at Milner, but Milner's a beast. Milner's a beast. He is. People say, oh, he's 32 years old. It doesn't matter. Every year he gets older, he gets better. He's a fine wine. And I don't like wine, but I like Milner. He's fantastic. He really is. So I struggle to actually say, would we maybe give a debut to Fabinho in the second half of the game? I don't know. Jurgen Klopp will have a much better idea of what's going to go on in this game. He could even perhaps turn around and be like, you know what? We're going to start Shaqiri over someone. Don't know. Daniel Sturridge played very well when he came on. He scored within 24 seconds of him coming on the pitch. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's really difficult to predict our starting 11. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing. While it's good as well that we can turn around and say, right, we know what our starting 11 is going to be, it's also good to know that we've got players on the bench that could come on, affect the game, and it's a quality bench as well. So say if we start with the same starting 11 that I just went through that we had last week, our bench still consists of people like Henderson, Shaqiri, Sturridge. It's quality players. Fabinho, even if he doesn't start. And if Fabinho does start in place of someone like Wijnaldum or Milner, someone like that, then you've got that player on the bench. So say Fabinho starts the game, you've got Wijnaldum or Milner on the bench. They can come on and affect the game. This is a really good place for Liverpool to be in right now. We look stronger than we ever have. Then I can, in recent memory, you'd probably be going back maybe 2008, 2009, something like that, when we were quite good. We were challenging for the title that year, I think it was 2008, 2009. We were challenging, we were looking good, but we look like we've got more options in different areas. You've got someone like Fabinho. CDM would be really, really good in that midfield. But if something catastrophic happens at right back, he can play right back. It's where he started his career. You've got people that are flexible. Something happens at left back, bang, we've got Milner. Maybe doesn't like playing there, but when he played there for pretty much an entire season, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. We have options. We have people that can play in different areas all over the pitch. Shaqiri, if you want to play him in the midfield, you could. If you wanted to play him as a number 10, you could. Number 9, you could. On the wings, you could. You see what I mean? We've got options. We've got options everywhere. We've got such a flexible team, which I don't think many teams have that. They obviously, and it's one of those things. It's a rare thing, I would say, in that you buy a player for a certain position. So we bought Mohamed Salah to play right wing. But I'm pretty sure if something happened and you wanted to switch it, you could. You see him now venture more into the striking sort of role, staying nearer to the goal so he can get all these goals that he scores. And while I'm going off on so many tangents, I've barely talked about Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace, I think, got the win in their last game out, and they looked quite good doing it. They did, because I remember Zaha's goal underneath the goalkeeper, and they did. I think they played really well. Did they play Cardiff? They played one of the newly promoted teams, and I'm pretty sure it might have been Cardiff. Can't remember exactly, but they played very well, and they kept hold of their star player in Zaha. They did. And Zaha is a tricky player for any team to come up against. He's a tricky person to try and shut down. So whatever flank he's going down, if it's on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, whichever, then he's a difficult person to track down and to keep track down as well. And yeah, whoever starts at right back or left back, wherever he decides to roam, is going to have a tough game, and they're going to need support from whoever's next to them or in front of them. So if it's on the right-hand side, might not get that support from Mohamed Salah, because Salah will stay up front more likely. But on the flip side of that as well, Crystal Palace, they are still open, I would say. I think they're quite slow at the back. I think they got fortunate last week. I think did Sacco bring someone down in the box, but it didn't get given as a penalty. I'm not entirely sure. We know Sacco very well. I was a big fan of Sacco while he was at Liverpool, but while we've got the likes of Gomez coming through and getting his starts as a centre back, and obviously we've got Virgil van Dijk, who is absolutely magnificent as well. I think that we can get at this team very, very well. We did this last year. We got at them very well, getting in behind. Crystal Palace teams and Roy Hodgson teams they're difficult to break down. They set up purposely like that. They are very difficult to break down. But once you break them down, and you maybe get that first goal, then it starts to, it's almost like when it rains it pours. Okay, so it's like if we get a goal, and whatever time we get that goal, if we get it, then it tends to be like, all right, it tends to be only a matter of how many are we going to score at that point. And that's for any team, that's not just us. That tends to be how it is. Heads can drop in that Crystal Palace team. And to be fair, they don't have, I think they're still going with Benteke up front, who, while he's a danger man and he loves playing against Liverpool, he always seems to score against us. He's not been very good since he was at Villa, when I think he scored like 20 goals in a season, and I think that was the season after that we bought him because they got relegated. Benteke is a danger, but I do think with the leadership and the commanding presence of someone like Virgil van Dijk, we should be able to deal with that as well. You've got to look more into, there's a midfield like Max Meyer. I don't think he started, I think he came on last week, so it depends. He's a young German, he was like this hot prospect. Everybody was looking at him in Europe, and then he's ended up out of contract from Schalke. It's a good acquisition for Crystal Palace because they needed to replace someone, Kabay. So it's a really good acquisition for them. He's a talented young lad. Could he be someone that affects this game? I'm not entirely sure Roy Hodgson's going to make that decision just yet. I think he's going to stick with the same team he had last week, which, by the way, I don't know all of the players. I just know that his key players is people like Benteke, big physical presence, Zaha, Andros Townsend, pretty sure he's still there. So yeah, Aaron Lennon's not there. He's at Burnley. Never mind. Anyway, move on. Made a mistake on that one. But no, I think that we can go and if we take this game by the scruff of the neck on Monday night, it could be a very good result for us. I would be looking for us to go on the front foot and win this game. That's what I'm looking for us to do, purely because I think the first opening run of games that we've got are a bit more favourable than the likes of, say, Man City and Chelsea have had. Chelsea versus Arsenal and all that sort of stuff. Arsenal facing Man City facing Arsenal as well. They are a threatening team. I think that we have to take advantage of the start that we've been given without disrespecting the teams that we're playing, like Crystal Palace and all that sort of stuff as well. I'm not trying to disrespect those teams at all. But we need to take advantage of it, go out there, get these points on the board early. We've started better than we did last season anyway. We started with a draw last season against Watford. We've already started with a win. A very impressive win against West Ham. Now we need to continue that, pick up the victory here, get 6 points, score some goals. Look, I want us to pick up as many points as we can before the other competitions start as well, like the Champions League, the domestic cups. I want us to pick up as many points there before we have to actually start doing squad rotation. That's my point of view. I don't know what your point of view is here. So my score prediction is going to be a 2-0 victory for Liverpool, and I think it's going to be not comfortable. I think we're going to get threatened a little bit more than we did against West Ham, but I think we will come out of this game as the victors, and I think we will win it 2-0. Let me know what you think in the comments below, if you please. What I'm going to try and do as well, I didn't do a preview of the Premier League this week, but I will try and do a review like I did last week of reviewing all the games of this weekend, because there's been obviously quite some good talking points in some of the games, some red cards as well. So I want to try and do that. If I don't, I'll try and get something out for midweek, but we'll see how the lay of the land is at that point. Thank you ever so much for watching and supporting this channel. If you have enjoyed this video, please do drop it a like and subscribe if you are new around here. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will catch you later.